Miss Iyanla, I want to talk about this word, success.
Okay.
You've had a long career. You've done so much work. I know you're a very optimistic person and you're someone who has a vision,
No, I ain't. I'm
but
crazy as hell. You just don't see us on. I'll put that
well,
part
well,
on the TV.
well, there you go. Well, I'm wondering, are you surprised by your own success? I mean, you have carved out a lane for yourself. Are you surprised by it, or did you see this coming?
No, because my grandmother scrubbed floors and toilets and fed poodles shrimp salad in white people's houses in Yonkers and White Plains to take care of me and my brother. She had a vision. She didn't know it was me. My mother was a porter on the Pennsylvania Railroad, up and down the road. And when she got sick at the age of 32, she didn't have health insurance. So when she realized she had breast cancer, she was pregnant with me. And they wanted to give her a mastectomy, but she didn't have the money to pay for it. So she died when I was 2. No, I'm not surprised because millions of my greatest grandmothers sacrificed their life for me to sit in this chair. No, I'm not surprised. I am just the prayer somebody prayed.
And how do people? What if somebody feels like they don't have that prayer?
Oh, they do.
Uh,
But we've
They
been
do.
programmed and conditioned. We've been programmed and conditioned until we want to see the evidence of it. The mere fact that you're here, baby, means that you are the legacy of those who chose to survive. Because the ones who jumped off the ship, that none of their legacy is here. You understand? The ones who
Mhm.
jumped over rather than come here to be. So we are the legacy of those who chose to survive. So there's something inside of us greater than any condition outside of us. But we've been trained to be punks, to run at every little upset. Can you imagine? Just let me say this to you. That's only because it's Women's History Month. And
Yes,
I'm
yes,
on
say
my
it.
Women's History Month, my Black
Yeah,
History Month thing. I
yeah,
came out of Black history and the women's history. I'm just hot. Okay.
yes, 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 yes.
Can you imagine being ripped out of your condo
Mm,
in Soho
mm,
or Midtown in Atlanta or South Philly, being ripped out of your condo and taken someplace, stripped naked and chained, flat on your back, next to people that don't even speak the same language as you. Can you imagine with your college degree or your professional degree that someone just comes and throws some slop in on you, and the only way you can get it is to lick it off of somebody else's face, and then they bring you and throw you into a foreign city you've never been in and hose you down like an animal and then put you on a block to sell you. Can you imagine watching your father or your brother be hung, your daughter be raped, never knowing when you're gonna? Can you just imagine that? That's where we come from. And we've fallen apart because somebody didn't text us back in 30 seconds. We become
mm.
punks. Can you hear me?
God.
Somebody don't call you back and you falling apart? Or somebody don't like you after you done gave up the nookie without knowing who it was anyhow. And now you upset? But you come from, oh, I'm just beating up the microphone.
It's
Okay,
all right.
calm
It's
down.
all
Yeah.
right.
Wait a minute.
I'm with you.
Can you hear me? Look where you
Yes,
come from.
right.
They survived that. That's why we're here. And we fall apart because somebody dated somebody because the level of conflammation, I just can't take it.
D- does love and do you feel like love and dating gets easier as you get older?
Yes, I
Mm.
do. First of all, because you could do something terrible and I'd forget. What did you do last Tuesday? What was I mad at you about? But you know what? As you get older, you value life more, you value people more, you value yourself more. Hopefully, you know, I'll just speak for myself as a woman. As I got older, I valued myself more. I valued people more. I had more grace in my heart. I didn't have as much and many demands. So for me, love and dating did become easier. I'm single now by choice,
Mm,
because that's what I'm choosing for myself right now. But it is easier because I don't have all the hangups that I used to have.
mm.
You know, somebody asked me earlier, they said, what do you think about polygamy or, being in love with? I said, I couldn't do it when I was 20 or 30. I could do it now because let him go over
Mm.
there and get a young one, go over there and bother her and come over here once a week.
That's important though. I think we have to validate people who are single. I love
Y'all,
Whoopi Goldberg's line. I don't want anybody in my house. I love that. I think it's okay to say, hey, it's okay to be single.
it
It's
is.
okay if that's what you want. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
But you know what? I'm single because I'm not alone. I really enjoy
Yes.
my company. I'm a
Yes.
riot. I have fun with myself. I find so many interesting things to do. Let me tell you what I did the other day. I was just out and I went in the Goodwill store, where they sell all the secondhand clothes, forgetting I was Iyanla Vanzant. And the people were looking at me like, why is Iyanla Vanzant in the Goodwill store? But I was enjoying my Sunday afternoon. Yeah. Yeah. I think we should raise our consciousness enough to know that you don't have to always be with somebody if you can be with yourself. That's a
Yeah.
choice. And there
Yes.
are periods when, you may need to be alone.
Yes. Yes. I know some people who have been much happier when they're by themselves, honestly and truly.
Well, yeah, because relationships trigger up your crazy.
Mm.
I'm very spiritual and loving and everything when I'm by myself. I get in a relationship, I'm a total neurotic lunatic. Even me, Lord, even me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I can be really great by myself. Put me in a relationship and all my triggers are getting pulled.
I love it. Mr. Yanla, I want to ask you one question before you go, just because I saw this on Twitter. A lot of people were surprised when you tweeted out your support for Will Smith when he
Hmm.
got into that incident last year at the Oscars, and you said that he set a new standard for what it means to protect and honor your wife. A lot of folks were surprised that you tweeted that because we think of you as peace, if you will.
Hmm.
Uh, were you surprised that folks were surprised?
Well, I was happy for him because that was his healing. I wasn't thinking about it from the social political perspective. I coach everything. And I was yeah, for him, that was a healing for him. It was, and maybe people didn't know the story. See, I know the story. And I know how he watched his mother be violently abused and was never able to do anything about it. And I know how that haunted him. So when he did that, I in that moment, for me, see, I look at everything different. Chris, see, in every situation, you're either learning the lesson, teaching the lesson, or the object by which the lesson is taught. So in that moment, Will was learning a lesson. Chris was teaching a lesson. And both of them were objects by which the lesson was being taught. That was a healing for Will. And really, for me, I couldn't say he set a new standard for what it means looks like to protect your mother because most people didn't understand that. I understood it. I had read the book,
Mm.
and for I was so proud of Chris Rock. I was so proud of him because do you know what that had looked like had he gone back after Will? Now we got two black men fighting at the Oscars. So I was so proud of him and happy for him. And we talk too much about what we think it is. That was such a healing for Chris. And then he went out 2 days later and did this big show and didn't talk about it. Wow. I just thought that the whole thing, because I'm always looking at everything for the healing and the coaching. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I'm too old to care what people think about me. And I think my reputation stands for itself. I would never advocate violence. But again, I coach everything. I coach the commercials.
Wait, before you go, you're from Philly, so I have to ask you a big
I'm from
question.
Brooklyn. I lived in
Oh,
Philly.
you lived in Philly. I'm sorry,
I'm
I'm
from the
sorry, but you're from
nation of
BK.
Brooklyn.
Are you my favorite artist of all time is Phyllis Hyman,
Oh,
and I want
love
to
her.
know
Knew
is
her
was this
personally. Hung out with her in the summer
you knew Miss Phyllis?
In Pittsburgh, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about
Well, we were
interacting with her.
girls. We were kids. You know, she lived around the corner. My neighbors came from Philly, and every I mean, from Pittsburgh, and every summer I spent 2 weeks in Pittsburgh, and she lived around the corner. So we just hung out as girls.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
That was
I
before she was the Phyllis Hyman.
the Phyllis Hyman, because she was raised in Pittsburgh, right?
Yes,
She went to
absolutely.
school in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, but she's known as a Philly artist.
Yeah.
All right. Miss Iyanla Vanzant, I miss Fix My Life so much. So I'm so happy you have this podcast
Yeah.
now.
The
I'm
R
so
spot.
happy.
If you need your
Yeah,
life fixed, come to the R spot.
exactly.